Hey folks, Danny Jugan with Axis Games. In this video I'm going to go over how the level editor in Meld works. So I'm going to assume that you have at least played the game for a little bit or have watched some of the videos. So if you haven't, go check out one of those. There's a level 1 through 20 walkthrough. Just get you used to how the game works, because I'm going to operate under the assumption that you guys have a basic understanding of how moving tiles around works and power-ups and the objective of each level. So looking at the basic interface, at the bottom of the screen, these are all of your options for adjusting the tiles in-game. To use them, you simply click on what you want, and you can click and drag and paint to design your level. On the right side over here we have the list of power-ups. To add a power-up to a level, you simply click on it and it appears down here. To clear out the list, you just click on the clear button at the bottom. So, a couple things before we get started with actually designing levels. The level editor will prevent you from creating levels that will crash the game, basically. So there are some things that it will prevent you from doing. This is to add a little bit of validation in the levels, so that the levels that are produced are as high quality as possible. So one of the first things it's going to prevent you from doing is creating a level that doesn't have a starting and an ending terminal. So for example, if I click on the purple element here, and let's just say we want to make a basic level, and I forget to do an ending terminal, and I say, okay, we'll just have them, kind of click to drag to create a path across, and I click test level to test it out, it's going to yell at me telling me that I need an ending terminal as well. So I'm going to click on end down here and then say that's where I want my end to be. You can move it around as much as you want. So now when I click on test level, it'll let me test it out, and I can complete the level. And once I complete the level, it's going to give me the option of continuing to edit it or going ahead and submitting the level. I'm going to go back to return to editor, and let's go through some of the other features and things that it's going to prevent you from doing. Let's look at wormholes. So with wormholes, these are kind of a more advanced power-up. They cause two tiles to act as if they're connected that are across the board. So for example, if I create a wormhole here and here, it's going to cause these tiles to act like they're connected. Now with wormholes in Meld, you can have either 2 wormholes on a level or 0. You can't have more than 2, and you can't have anywhere between 0 and 2. So 0 or 2, that's it. Any number that's different from that causes some logic loops and issues, and so it's either going to be 0 or 2. Because of that, if you have, so if I click on just this blank tile to get rid of one, if I only put 1 wormhole on the level, it's going to tell me I have to have exactly 2 or 0. If I try to put more than 2, it's going to give me the same. Okay, so we just need 2. So now if I go test level, it'll work. Okay, and I don't know if I have enough to complete this level. Let's try it. Let's do this. See, it goes. And again, I'm going to go return to editor because I'm not ready to submit this level. Alright, so let's go through some of the other controls. This blank tile allows me to get rid of tiles. So we can adjust the shape of the level. We can add black holes. We can add superconductors. We can increase the stack. And we can decrease the stack. One thing I will let you know, you can't have a starting configuration that has an element stack greater than 6. It has to do with how the level data is stored. So for example, if you want to have a particular spot where you've got maybe like a 10 stack of green right here, simply start with 2 5s next to it. Okay, and the user will have to combine those. You can also add plasma to any tiles that you want. You can put bound elements on. And these are simple toggles on and off. So if I want to get rid of the binding, I just click a special feature on it, like a black hole or a superconductor or wormhole. I simply click on the blank tile or any colored tile, and it will automatically paint over it. Okay? So that's kind of the gist of it. And what I want to touch on now is how we can create good levels. So some basic level design strategies and kind of the general thought process that we go through as we create some of the levels for Meld. So first thing on the left side, here are your move counters. If you want to give people more moves, simply type in the value there. And you'll be good to go. Same thing with the power-ups. If I want to add power-ups, I click on them over here. And there's a maximum number of power-ups that you can start with on the level. Off the top of my head, I think it's 12, but that's a ton of power-ups. I don't think you need anywhere near that number. So as far as designing levels, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the level to start with a blank slate. And typically what we do is we design levels around a particular theme or around a particular challenge point or strategic element that we're trying to capture. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to get a rough shape of a level. It's completely up to you how you design it. But let's do something basic that has a little bit of a twist. So if I wanted to do, let's go with purple. So if I got a purple start and end right here, so I'm going to specify my start and ending tiles as these two. And let's say I want to work with an antimatter power-up. So I'm going to give the user an antimatter power-up, and then we're going to give them some purple elements to work with, maybe put like a 2-stack or 3-stack here. And the idea is we want the user to have to meld red and blue together to create purple. So I'm going to give them a couple red elements. And then instead of giving them blue elements, so if we gave them a couple blue elements like this would be a relatively simple level. They would see the connection between red and blue here, and they can combine it to create purple. And so I'm going to take this one step further, and I'm going to take advantage of the antimatter power-up. And instead of giving them blue, I'm going to give them orange. Okay, so they can't combine red and orange, but they can combine red and blue. So the user has to figure out, okay, I need to use this antimatter power-up on the orange to switch it over to blue. So if I go to test level, here we can combine the reds and I'm going to combine the orange, use the antimatter on the orange to create blue, and then we've got enough to create our level. Okay, and you see we actually have some left over, so maybe we don't need to do 2 red and 2 orange. Maybe we just do 1 of each. So we can do something like that. Now we can go even farther and put in some bound elements. So maybe I'm going to put a series of bound elements here, and then I want to give them a meteor power-up to use. Now when we test the level out, the only way to complete it is by breaking one of these bindings. So I'm going to break the binding with the meteor, and then I can complete the level. So again, we're just adding on each time some little things that the user needs to do. So then we might say, well, let's take it one step farther. Let's give them one more power-up to work with, and let's give them a superconductor. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to change the ending terminal to be green, and I'm going to move it over here a little bit. Okay, so we'll do it like this. And then I'm going to put a yellow and a blue tile here. Okay, and then I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm actually going to do 2 yellows and 2 blues. So now we'll test the level. And we're used to this at this point. We'll use the antimatter here. We'll create the path through. I can't move this to the bound tile. So what I want to do is use the meteor to destroy it. And then we'll continue our path here. Combine these to get green. I guess I don't need that many greens either. And then I'm going to use a superconductor that's going to allow the conduit to pass between these. So let's go back to the editor. I'm going to drop the stack down of both of these, because we'll still have plenty enough to get through there. And then I'm just going to add one final twist on this. The user can pretty easily see that you combine blue and yellow to make green, especially since it's kind of obvious why these 2 tiles are there. So instead of having blue and green there, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this one, I'm going to make the blue one red, and I'm going to give the user a solar flare power-up. Solar flare is similar to antimatter, only solar flare allows you to change the color of any element to any other element. So they'll have to use the solar flare on the red to change it to blue. So now we go to test level. We're going to use antimatter on this to get purple. We'll use our meteor here to get rid of the binding. We'll move our purple ones up. And I could combine these to orange, or I could use solar flare and make this into blue, so we get green. And then we can connect these, and then I'm going to drop superconductor so that we can complete the level. And then if I felt good with that level, I could go ahead and click submit. That would make the level completely playable by others. They can vote on it, rate the difficulty, and that sort of thing. Or I could return to the editor and continue working on it. Alright, so that's it for the video today. Hopefully you guys got some good ideas about the process of creating levels and using power-ups to add strategy and depth to the gameplay. We hope you enjoy Meld, and we hope you create lots of levels for people to play. Thank you so much.